Gaming has changed so much. I used to think PlayStation was the greatest gaming giant ever. I'd been a fan of PlayStation since the beginning of my journey in gaming. I've owned every PlayStation, from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 5. I have a long history with this company, though I'm not here to talk about my personal history with PlayStation. Today, I'm here to talk about why they are no longer the beloved trustworthy gaming giant the world once knew, the development of gaming as a whole, the current state of artificial intelligence in gameplay, and the future. But for now, let's talk about PlayStation a little bit. PlayStation is no longer the beloved trustworthy gaming giant the world once knew. When people used to think about PlayStation, they thought about many exclusive IPs and franchises they published way back when. I'm sure I'm not the only one who fondly remembers Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Twisted Metal, The Getaway, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, Gran Turismo, Genji, Sly Cooper, Okami, Kingdom Hearts. The list goes on and on. Games that have given people memories they will never forget, but now they are a shell of their former selves. In the last 10 years, PlayStation has been digging themselves into an extremely deep hole they are now struggling to pull themselves out of. They just increased the price of PlayStation Plus, when prices are already out of control. They closed Blue Point Studios due to their own failures, which is insane because they are now looking for other studios to work on remakes and remasters for them. Oh, the irony, PlayStation. The irony. The scummy decisions over the last decade have just continued to pile up, creating a ticking time bomb in the PS3 and the PS4 so that after a certain period of time, players would be left with a brick. They shut down over 9 different studios in the last few years. They told players that no one cared about old dormant franchises and that preserving game history was a waste of time. They pumped out one live service failure after another. They canceled 2 planned PC ports, and now they have announced they will no longer be bringing their games to PC. They just continue to double down and ignore the error of their ways. I don't understand how they can be so foolish. The live service push has done nothing but bite them in the ass, but they continue to pour millions of dollars into projects that will either fail as soon as they launch or get canned before they can even see the light of day. Thank goodness for Stop Killing Games, right? They have a blueprint for success spelled out in front of them, yet they continue to try and tell us that they know what we want. The death of the live service business model is approaching for a multitude of reasons, and PlayStation doesn't seem to see any of them. In fact, I think even the community itself can't see the biggest issue with the live service games themselves at times. Live service games are games that are designed to be infinite, but in all actuality, they are everything but infinite. Players who buy live service games or invest time in live service games, say free games, don't realize that they don't own their experience and that it can be taken away from them at any time. Ownership has been taken away from them. Ownership has become a huge topic, even more so now than in the last few years. Live service games all follow a model of control and invisible ownership. You can only play this game if you have internet, a subscription, verified identification. This isn't really your game. This isn't something you'll be able to play anytime you want forever. This is what we will allow you to play for as long as we allow you to play it. But hey, we need to keep these servers running and funds to keep giving you guys content, so yeah, pay us. We know what's best. No one wants to play old games. No one wants to play single-player games anymore. It's greedy bullshit. More people are starting to appreciate those single-player focused games, or games that don't require internet to be played, games that don't require subscriptions to be played, games like Baldur's Gate 3, Black Myth Wukong, Death Stranding 2, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Silent Hill F, Resident Evil 9, Pragmata, and the game I've been playing every day since launch, Crimson Desert. The most anticipated games left to release this year are all single-player focused games. More and more studios are starting to pivot towards refocusing on single-player games. Sega announced that they are no longer investing in the live service model. Shouldn't this be a telltale sign to people out there? If you take a moment to think about it, no matter how big the live service games that took off became, they have never, and will never, enter a greatest of all time conversation. Ask any real gamer what's the greatest game they ever played or the greatest game ever made, and I promise you they're not gonna say Fortnite, they're not gonna say Overwatch, they're not gonna say Apex, they're not gonna say Valorant or Marvel Rivals, no one's gonna say GTA Online. If anyone mentions GTA anyway, they're gonna most likely be referring to the single player mode. Look at every game in the greatest of all time conversation. There have never been, and never will be, any multiplayer first games there. We're not talking about numbers and sales, we're talking about word of mouth, we're talking about reputation, what gamers say, games that have impacted people's lives, games that have made people fall in love with this medium. PlayStation and companies like them couldn't be any more foolish. I'm not going to pretend that Xbox and Nintendo have been consistently great either, because they haven't. Xbox constantly had been pivoting toward an anti-consumer tactics, laying off countless people, ridiculous price increases, and more ignorant choices that have led to the cancellation of games and the closing of studios. Though Xbox seems to be slowly finding ground after a series of huge losses, leading many to believe Xbox as a whole was done for. Asha Swarma seems to be making great choices so far, and we can only hope that it stays that way. With that said, I can't talk about PlayStation and Xbox without mentioning Nintendo and their business practices. I love Nintendo, but I can't pretend not to see all of their greed, complete disconnect with their consumer base, and their head-scratching decisions they have made over the years, which is why I plan to make a separate video on them in the future. The foolish decisions made by these companies is one thing, and it doesn't help that we also have the rapid rise of artificial intelligence. Anytime people hear anything about AI, they're ready to lose their minds. People see AI as the death of creativity, originality, and even the death of employment, as the possibility of being replaced by AI in the workforce is very possible with the rapid progression of AI technology. It goes without saying, AI has hit the gaming landscape incredibly hard. Most people see no good in AI. Personally, I disagree. Now before you go launching cannon fire at me, allow me to elaborate. I believe AI does have a place in gaming. I don't think AI on its own is inherently bad. I think the over-reliance and obsessive use of AI can make it bad. Using it to replace people is the completely wrong way to go about it. AI is best used as a tool, something to help smooth out rough edges in a project, something to help streamline processes and correct mistakes that a user may have made. It can help fix issues in missed lines of code. It can help with processes of adding finishing touches to a project. AI can also be used for smaller creators who don't have the resources or talent needed for their project. I'm sure there are many people who are disabled who would like to create games. I'm also sure there are many people without proper tools or money to help create their vision. They could help themselves by using AI. They could better create their version with the help of AI, not the over-reliance of it. I think with a proper use and care, AI does have its place in gaming, as long as it's not heavily relied upon. I don't think it's all that bad. I think people lean too heavily into the negative aspect of it. I can't blame them though. We have seen how bad AI can turn out if AI is over-relied on. AI can exist when there's a balance. Like everything in life, there needs to be a balance. And I'm not hateful and dismissive of AI. Of course I'm weary of it, but I'm not against it. The world of gaming has always encouraged progression. It's always encouraged ways to make processes faster and more efficient. The industry is changing. Lots of bad things are happening, but I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think now more studios are learning what the industry needs and what gamers want. It's gonna take some time, but recent events show that the shift is happening. Gaming is pivoting into a better place than it's been in a long time. And I'm all here for it. As long as there are people who love video games, great games will always exist. The future of gaming may not be as bleak as you think. Remember to fight for what makes you happy. This is Orbital Rose, signing off. See you guys next time.